وأصحابه وبارك وسلم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كيف حالكم؟ الحمد لله. Alhamdulillah, it was a good start of the morning, mashallah. And I walked in here, it was a very beautiful sight to see all our students reading Quran, mashallah. So I think make your niyyah that you're going to read that portion every day. If you read that small portion you memorize today, in every salah or at least 3 or 4 times a day, by Sunday you'll have memorized it completely. So I think we're just giving you the platform here on Sundays to memorize a piece, but take it home now and recite it. You'll find that you actually do know it, just a bit of polishing and you'll get it. How many of you on the female side feel that you know that section from this morning? Raise your hand, inshallah. MashaAllah, brothers, how many of you feel that you know it from this morning? Like you can memorize, you can say it? None of you? No, man, come on, raise your hand. Like, I'm not going to ask you to recite, I'm just asking you. Okay, 1. Who else? 2, 3. How come half the females know it and like 4 men know it? Anyway, just recite it, inshallah. You'll know it. Mawla Abdullah is doing the same system at Kutri with our kids there, 7, 8, 9 years old, and the kids are now like they're busy like doing their maths and they're reciting and they're doing the English and they're like doing the other work, but it's so like programmed in them that they're just reciting all the time. So we'll also send you a recording of Mawla Abdullah reciting the section. So do just try to make it part of your week. My vision, inshallah, or let's say our vision, inshallah, is that we have adults memorizing Quran. A beautiful thing, inshallah. Beautiful thing. And don't miss out a lesson, because you miss out and you'll drop out from the memorization. Bismillah, we are on divine speech. Our section heading is about figurative language. So I remind you, figurative language is the opposite of literal speech. So basically tuning your minds in that the Quran is not always literally word for word. There are figures of speech that you use all the time. How far did we get? Similes. What simile is spelled right? Is that spelled right? Oh, it looks odd to me anyway. Do we finish the last handout?
Just the last.
Can you see what we didn't finish quickly? What didn't we finish? Oh yeah, so the last one from last week is the first one of this week. Okay, so Bismillah, simile. I'll remind you, simile is when you compare two things using a what? A word for comparison. Ka or mithlu or so on. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Khush'an absaruhum. What's khush'an? From the word khushu'. Like to be what? To be humbled. To be awestruck. To be overwhelmed. What's going to be humbled, awestruck, overwhelmed? Absaruhum. Allah is speaking about what? About resurrection now. Why would you use a simile for resurrection? Because none of us have seen resurrection. So we have to match it to something which we know. So Allah is saying on the day of resurrection, خُشَّعَنْ أَبْصَارُهُمْ, that their eyesight, their gazes will be humbled, will be overawed. يَخْرُجُونَ, they will come forth, they will come out, مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ, what ajdath? From the graves. Ka, what does ka mean? Like. So you're getting a simile now. Like. كَأَنَّهُمْ, as if they are what? Jarad, what jarad? Locust. Muntashirun, spread out. I don't know how many of you seen like a locust swarm before? Seen those videos before? Like the locusts come with just like this huge mess. Now imagine, I don't know by the end of the world how many billion people there will be. But let's say conservatively maybe 10 billion if the end of the world happens now. Conservatively, maybe 10 billion. So you have 10 billion people exiting from their graves, all coming towards one point. كَأَنَّهُمْ جُرَادٌ مُنْتَشِرٌ, as if they are going to be what? A swarm of locusts that are spread out coming towards a point. So when you see a swarm of locusts, you have an idea of what Qiyamah will be like, and there's billions of people emerging from their graves, amongst them you and I, moving towards the plains of Qiyamah. So it's the idea of imagery in the Quran, and Allah is comparing something which you don't know to something which you know. Next one. يَوْمَ يَكُونُ النَّاسُ كَالْفَرَاشِ الْمَبْثُوثِ. Similar example. يَوْمَ, on that day, يَكُونُ النَّاسِ, people will be ka. We have a simile. What's farash? Moths. Mabthuth? What does mabthuth mean? Like scattered moths. So similar thing, I don't know how moths operate so well, besides the one in my house. Yeah. Who's scared of moths here? You know, people are scared of moths, eh? Yeah. When I was newly married, my wife screamed one day. I thought there was a burglar in the house. She knows there's a moth. Got the shock of my life. I didn't know you could be scared of a moth, but there are people who are scared of moths. No. No. Allah says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. The mathal, what's a mathal? An example, the similitude, the likeness. الَّذِينَ, of those that kafaru, that those that believe. بِرَبِّهِمْ, in their Lord. أَعْمَالُهُمْ, their deeds. Like. So what are we comparing to? What are we comparing first of all? We're comparing A to B. What is A? We're not comparing disbelievers. What are we comparing? We're comparing the deeds of this. You must understand what we're comparing. Allah is saying the a'mal, the deeds of the disbelievers. And those deeds will include their good deeds. A'mal will include their good deeds. It will be karamadin. What's ramad? Ramad is like ash. You know, like when you make a fire and the ash goes in the sky? It's like that. It's like a ramad, it's like a piece of ash. In which context? Ishtaddat bihi rihu. When the rih, what's the rih? Wind. Ishtaddat means to become shadid. What shadid mean? When the wind becomes strong, severe. When the wind becomes, so it's like ashes. When the wind becomes severe, fi yawmin asif, in a yawm, in a day which is asif. What's asif? Like a stormy day. So what's Allah comparing? Allah is comparing the deeds of the disbelievers to what? To ashes that are blowing around with a violent wind on a stormy day. What happens to those ashes? They disperse. Are you able to collect them? You can't collect them, you can't hold them, you can't see them, they're just gone. They disappeared. Allah says, لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على شيء. They're not able to have any qudra. They're not able to hold, they're not able to own, possess مما كسبوا, of that which they have earned, all those deeds they have earned, على شيء, mean anything at all, upon anything. They can't hold onto anything. ذلك هو الضلال البعيد. That is ضلال البعيد, that is to be distantly astray, to be completely lost. Completely lost. It's a difficult question to answer, because we do ask the question, what happens to the good deeds of those who don't believe? What happens to the good deeds of those who don't believe? And the answer is that if it's not done for Allah's sake, it doesn't have any value really. If things are not done for the sake of Allah, it doesn't have value. It sounds like difficult to but it's not done for the sake of Allah. It has to be done for the sake of your Lord, and then it has value. Next one. So those are all similes. So there's a number of similes in the Quran. Whenever you have the ka or mithlu, you have a simile. Next we're going to move to metaphor. What's a metaphor again? A metaphor is a direct comparison without a ka, without a mithlu. Allah says what? Those are all trade metaphors. Allah says, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. أولئك, translation? Those. الذين, those are the ones. أولئك الذين مبتدأ خبر. أولئك is مبتدأ. الذين is خبر. Those are the ones who اشتروا, to purchase, الضلالة, misguidance, بالهدى, with guidance. Why is it a metaphor? What comes to mind? Allah says the word purchase, literally. What does purchase means to you in literal words? There's an exchange of what? So in our context, a transaction, and they say it's not a barter, it's a money system. What do you give? You give something and you get something. You either give some coins, you get something, you give an item, you get something. So do we understand how trade works? Yes, we understand how trade works. Allah wants to take that metaphor we understand to give us an insight onto something which is unseen. Like guidance, something which is it's like not something always tangible. So what is their trade? What do they give? What do they give away? Guidance. And what do they purchase? They purchased misguidance. So if Allah houses that expression in a metaphor, it becomes more understandable. Like, doesn't it make sense for you to give guidance and to take out misguidance? You go to the corner shop, can I have some dalala? Here's some of my hidayah. Does it make sense? No. But because the metaphor is in trade, can you understand that it makes the message clearer? That what you're actually doing when you rebel against Allah is you're taking your guidance you have and you're saying, here's my guidance, I want some misguidance. Here's my guidance, I want to be lost. Can I be a bit lost? Give me some lostness. You understand? The metaphor helps you to cement the meaning because it's something which you know to something which you don't know. Allah says, فَمَا رَبِحَتْ تِجَارَةٌ. فَمَا رَبِحَتْ. Your ribh in Arabic is your profit. Allah says, فَمَا رَبِحَتْ, will not be profitable what? Tijara. What's it? Tijara? Trade. Is this a literal trade or a metaphorical trade? It's a metaphorical trade. وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ, and nor are they rightly guided. Allah says next verse, similar meaning. أُولَٰئِكَ, those الَّذِينَ are the ones that اشْتَرَوُا الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا بِالْآخِرَةِ. What do they buy? What's hayat mean? Life. What does dunya mean? It's a worldly. Hayat dunya sifa mawsu. What does it mean? The worldly life. Dana also means to be close or to be low. They purchased what? The close life, the low life, the worldly life. And what did they pay? Bil akhirah. They gave the akhirah up and they said, give me the dunya. This is the trade that happens. The trade is, Ya Allah, I want some, not Ya Allah, whoever they're speaking to, give me more dunya. You go to the shop, can I have some more dunya please? Here's some of my akhirah. My good akhirah in other words. So this is going to be the trade. Next one. Man ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا. Man, question, who? Man ذا الذي, who is the one that يقرض الله. What's a qard? A qard is a loan. So يقرض الله. What functions Allah play in that sentence? Allah plays the role of the recipient. The strange thing. This literally means, who is the one that is going to loan? Allah. Who's going to give Allah a loan? What type of loan? Qardan hasana. A beautiful, good loan. Can you see why it's problematic to say understand literally? Can you understand why literal understanding is very problematic? Why are we problematic here? Because who needs a loan? People who are in need. People who don't have. Allah is saying, who's going to give a loan to Allah? And the Jews took this a bit, some Bani Israel took this further, and they said, we are rich and Allah is poor. Why? Allah is poor because He asked for a loan. Why? Because there's no language of the Quran. You can't understand everything literally. What does it actually mean? Allah then says, فَيُضَاعِفَهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا. Then Allah will multiply it for this person many multiples. But what does it mean when Allah says, who will give Allah a loan, a beautiful loan? What do you think the meaning of that is? What is the verse asking you to do? Asking you what? To give sadaqah, right? Support the way of Islam, the path of Islam, the mujahideen, the masajid, the movements. The verse is telling you to support Islam. So the meaning of the verse is, who is going to give this why is it called a loan? What's the thing about the loan? You get paid back. How much you get paid back? Ad'afan kathira, multiples. But who is the recipient of the loan? The recipient of the loan is what? The deen of Allah. But Allah picked up the word deen and put Himself there. You with me? And that's also part of the. So it doesn't actually literally mean give Allah a loan. It means give Allah's movement. The movement of Islam, Allah's deen alone. Okay, so the whole language here is what? Is a language of something which is metaphorical. Because even the loan part, it's something which we understand based on what we know a loan is. You give something, you get something back, you're going to give something here, and upon a metaphor, you're not going to give Allah, you're going to give His deen. Last one, Allah. Last one. Inna Allah, beautiful verse. Yeah, this is a really beautiful verse. There's like such a power, like there's, sometimes in your mind, like some verses stick out. For me, one of the verses that always stick out in like what your relationship to Allah is. Allah says, Inna Allah, verily Allah, Ishtara, the fa'il is the huwa going back to Allah. Allah has purchased. What happens when you purchase something? It becomes yours. Allah has purchased. Minal mu'minin. Allah has purchased from the believers anfusahum wa amwalahum. Ajib verse. Allah has purchased from you your nafs, your being. Nafs, lower self also, but also your being. Allah has purchased from you your being. What is your being? Your being is you. Not only you, wa amwalahum. Allah have purchased the entire beings, I mean their energy, their life, their time, their dedication, their works. Not only that, what? And everything they own, Allah has purchased. From who? From the believers. And what do they get in return? بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ بِأَنَّ for them, بِأَنَّ for that, لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ الْجَنَّةَ لَهُمْ. I'll take it back to لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. For them and them alone is Jannah. Why is it a metaphor? Because purchase means you take something, it becomes yours. You do what you want with it. Allah has taken from the believers themselves and said, listen here, you belong to me. Listen here, your amwal, it belongs to me. You do as I say. And in exchange, like for me, that's such like a total statement. It's such like an encompassing statement. Allah has purchased our lives. Allah has purchased our wealth, it belongs to Him. And if we live like that, بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ, then for them and them alone will be will be paradise. So all are very powerful, it's a metaphor, very powerful metaphors in the Quran. May Allah make us live like this. Allahu Amin. We continue next week inshallah. Barakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is your timetable okay? You okay with the timetable? Some changes?